In the last Google Core update, almost 80% of top 3 rankings shifted position, and 24% of pages in the top 10 just fell out of the top 100 entirely. That update finished on April 8th. On May 21st, just a couple days ago, Google rolled out the next one. But here's what I actually think is going on, and you can disagree with me in the comments. This update isn't routine. Google has been the undisputed king of search for 2 decades now, and for the first time, they're playing defense. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, they're eating the kind of search Google used to own. And this core update, combined with everything Google announced at I/O this week, is Google's response. They're trying to stay the trusted source. I'm going to dive into the data today, but first, welcome back. If you're new here, this is where we break down what's actually happening in search and AI. Today, the May 2026 core update, and the bigger story behind it is what we're going to talk about, and just what the data says. So the basics. On May 21st, in the morning, Google rolled out the May 2026 core update. It's the second confirmed core update of the year. Rollout takes up to 2 weeks, so we're looking at June 4th-ish to wrap. Google's official description, I'm quoting word for word, a regular update designed to better surface relevant, satisfying content for searches from all types of sites. That's the entire announcement. No companion blog post, no specifics, just a tweet and a dashboard entry. And look, that's normal for Google. They've been getting more tight-lipped for years. But here's the thing, calling this like quote-unquote regular feels like a stretch because the context around it is nothing of regular. Here's the part that I think matters most. Google's overall search market share is basically fine. Cloudflare's most recent data shows that they still account for 87.52% of search referral traffic. So like the headline, Google is losing market share, is mostly wrong. But dig into the types of queries, and it's a different story. So according to Similarweb data from earlier this year, ChatGPT's share of the AI chatbot market dropped from 87 to 68% in 12 months. That share went mostly to Gemini, which jumped from 5.4% to 18.2%. So within the AI space, Google is gaining. But here's the catch. That's only because Google built their own AI chatbot to compete. The bigger threat is users going to AI tools instead of search at all. So Gartner is forecasting that the traditional search volume will drop 25% by the end of 2026 because of the AI chatbots cannibalizing informational queries. And here's a stat that I had to read twice. 43% of all Google searches now end in 0 clicks. The user finds their answers on the search results page itself and never visits a website. So when Google's AI mode is active for a query, that 0-click number jumps to 93%, which is insane. So when Google rolls out a core update that, quote, better surfaces relevant content, I think what they're really doing is making sure that when people still come on to Google, the experience is so good that they don't leave for ChatGPT the next time. So this isn't like a routine algorithm tweak. This is survival positioning from Google right now. And then there's the Google I/O, which happened literally one day before this update dropped. So that's not like a coincidence at all. Elizabeth Reed, who runs the search at Google, announced that AI mode has passed 1 billion monthly users. So queries are more than doubling every quarter. They rolled out Gemini 3.5 Flash as the default AI mode model. And Google calls the changes the quote biggest upgrade to our search box in over 25 years. That's not the kind of language you use for routine refresh. That's the kind of language you use when you're like at least thinking you're in a fight for your existence. So I think we're seeing a pivot here, if anything. And honestly, that tracks because here's what's happening underneath all of this. Google's traditional business model is, you search, you click a link, you go to that website, the website shows you an ad, everybody wins. That model is breaking. AI overviews are eating clicks, and so ChatGPT is eating informational queries entirely. So the web that Google indexed for 25 years is being replaced by an answer layer. So Google is trying to be that answer layer instead of being replaced by it, right? Ad space is decreasing. The May core update is part of that. They need content. They need the content that they surface when they surface content to be the best possible content. I mean, obviously, that's going without saying, but because if it's not, users will just open ChatGPT instead. We're seeing, even though the market share for overall is steady at that 87.5-ish%, what we're seeing is that certain types of clicks that were commonly going to pages where we could have this ad space done and get Google money, those are the searches that are leaving. And so that's what's super important. So what does this actually mean for rankings? I think March is the precedent. The Semrush sensor, which scores the volatility 0 to 10, peaked at 9.5 during the March rollout. So, anything above a 9 is extremely rare. And then SE ranking shared with the underlying data shared the underlying data with Search Engine Land. In the top 3 positions, 79.5% of URLs shifted. In the top 10, 90.7% moved, and only 9.3 of the top 10 URLs held their exact position. And then 24.1% of pages in the top 10 fell out of the top 100 entirely. So that's insane. 1 in 4 top 10 pages just disappeared from the first 100 results. That's not a ranking drop, that's like a deletion. And so the pattern of who won and lost in March fits the thesis perfectly. The winners are the established brands, sites with original first-party data, pages giving direct answers, and then the losers are the aggregators, comparison sites, publishers, AI content farms, expired domain abuse. So Google is rewarding exactly the kind of content that AI can't easily replicate or replace. So that original expertise, firsthand experience, real data. Because of that, the only kind of content that justifies sending a user to a website at all is the AI in the AI answer area. So the December 2025 update gives you a sense of how bad the wreckage can get. The publishers reported a 70 to 85%. Between those two, Indian news publishers saw visibility scores collapse by over 65% on Systrix. And so one more piece of the puzzle, the May 21st announcement was not the start of this. So May 8th, Search Engine Roundtable documents were noting some volatility across third-party trackers. The 13th and 14th, 12 different tracking tools spike at the same time, including Moz, Semrush, Systrix, the works. So Google announced this on May 21st, but the SEO community has been watching these rankings move for almost 2 weeks. Speculation of a core update has been afoot for a long time now. This means that either Google is testing quietly or didn't want to confirm until the IO is over, which just is another, proof that of this pivot of Google entirely, right? They are trying to more actively compete in the chatbot space. And on top of that all, there's a separate problem, the surge in deindexing, to pages getting hit with the crawled, currently not indexed, in Search Console since early April. Pages that used to rank are vanishing from Google's index entirely. Whether that's connected to the core update or it's just a parallel issue, nobody knows yet, I would say. But if your rankings dropped and your rankings look fine, or if your traffic dropped and your rankings look fine, then I'd probably check that report. So if you're trying to figure out what's happening to your site, here's what I did and what actually matters. I wouldn't make any crazy decisions until the entire update is done. I think that's, pretty obvious, but should be said. The rollout isn't done. Day 3 or 4 is not your final score. And so second, I think pull Search Console and cross-reference your traffic dips against that May 8th, May 13th and 14th, and May 21st. If drops cluster around those dates, then you're seeing the update. If you don't, then you might be looking at a different problem. So just, there's so many different variables in this game of SEO that trying to eliminate some can help. Third, check impressions versus clicks separately. If your impressions are stable but clicks are dropping, you're losing to AI overviews, not to ranking changes. That's a completely different fix. And then fourth, I think the sites that survive this update long term are the ones whose content can't be answered by an AI summary. First-hand reviews where someone actually used the product, original research with the new data, genuine expert opinions, anything where the value is in the person behind it, not in the information itself. Information is now free and infinite. The scarce thing is trust. Google is trying to be that trusted source. The sites Google rewards going forward will be the ones that are helping them be that, trusted source. So that's where we are. Google is rolling out a core update one day after announcing the biggest search overhaul in 25 years. The data says that this is way bigger than a routine thing. And I think when we look back in 5 years to this period, late 2025, all of 2026, this is when Google stopped being a search engine and became something else. So yeah, I'm gonna do a follow-up on this around the time that it actually releases. Subscribe if you want to hear that one as well.